the end of October, and the high today is supposed to be 75 degrees. 4 days from now, the high is supposed to be 45 degrees. Crazy weather. Just got off the subway. Right now I'm in Hudson Yards, but that's not where I'm going necessarily today. I decided today I would go and take you to walk the High Line. Hudson Yards is a development. It's actually built over a rail yard. It was supposed to be built in 2 sections. First section is back here. It's the finished part. The second section is right over there, and it's still a rail yard. Part of this whole complex is the Edge, which is it's up there. I think it's one of the tallest open observation decks that you can go to. It's supposed to have great views. Someday I'll go there, but not today. This is an art installation called The Vessel. It was designed for people to be able to go out, walk all through those levels, but it's been closed for a while because too many people jumped off of it, which is sad. I didn't really intend to walk around Hudson Yards today, but now I'm here and it seems that's what I'm doing. Check this box as well. This is called The Shed. It's an innovative architectural space. I believe it's a performance space with a huge cover that can roll off to open it up. That's all I really know about it. Look it up, check it out. I mean, look at these wheels that the whole cover rolls on. They're big. I just walked myself into a corner. Now I'm stuck. I'll go back the other way. I couldn't have planned that better. I walked through a gate and suddenly I'm on the High Line. I didn't even realize that it was right here. But I found it. So did a lot of other people though. I was trying to come early in the day and on a weekday so that maybe there wouldn't be a whole lot of tourists. But before I left, I read that this has been described as like an elevated tourist cattle drive. So here you can see the other part of Hudson Yards that's still not been developed yet. It's where you can still see the train yard. So they're all subway cars there. And then we turn this way, this is the part of Hudson Yards that has been developed. So the rest of that rail yard is underneath all these buildings. And I'm here at the beginning of the High Line on the west side. And the High Line used to be an elevated railroad track, which we'll talk more about later, but you can see where the entrance to it for the trains was still over there. I haven't been down to this end of the High Line yet. That's why I didn't know it was right here at Hudson Yards. Today's gonna be another day like the Brooklyn Bridge Day, fighting tourists. Maybe not fighting tourists, but in the middle of tourists. So we're on the west side, and this is near like the meatpacking area of New York and other industrial areas of New York. And in the 1900s, they needed ways to get trains in to all these companies to be able to get goods in and out. And so they started building tracks at ground level, but it became obvious pretty fast that that was really dangerous and a lot of people got killed by the trains moving on the street. So then they came up with the idea of creating an elevated rail line to be able to get the trains in and out to the businesses without endangering people on the street. So that's what this is, the High Line. It's elevated tracks that come right through the city. In the middle of the 1900s, they stopped using them because more companies turned to trucking to get their shipping through the city. And so they sat abandoned for a long time. In the 1980s, I believe, they started talking about maybe ripping them down. People spoke up, they kind of liked them here, and they said they wanted to do something different with them. So ultimately, here we are. It was turned into a park, an elevated park along these abandoned rail lines. So this ended up being a pretty neat and actually very successful park. One of the neat things about it is that they left a lot of the rails in, as you may have already noticed. So you're walking along by all the plants and stuff, but there are old railroad tracks up here still too. I think I saw the whole thing is almost 2 miles long, so a nice little walk. When the rail line was in use, this was an industrial area, so a lot of the buildings have that industrial look to them, warehouse kind of look. Now they've been revitalized as apartments and lofts as this neighborhood has grown up again. Since the neighborhood's been changing, there's a lot of new development in here, in and among all the old warehouses and stuff. And a lot of it has a really modern look to it. It's interesting. Hey, look, it's art. The tourist factor is not so bad at this end. There were a lot more people here last time we came on the weekend. It may be more crowded down south, though. We'll see. Up at the northern part of this where we are, there's not as much industry. This was kind of the pathway in. Once we get further south, it expands and hits all the warehouses where the trains used to pick up stuff, drop stuff off, you know. What would one of our trips be without some construction? Man, that was loud. Hey, look at this art. It's fish musicians. Here's where we get into where the rail line actually starts to cut through the buildings so that they can easily load and unload. Vendors selling various foods and goods. It's early yet, some aren't open. Off to this side, you got the Hudson River, and you can see Little Island out there. That's a pretty neat little park too. Maybe I'll take you there sometime. I just passed by a tour group, tour guide giving very fascinating information. Apparently this is a very old building, but they built a new building on top of it. This is one of the original meatpacking buildings that the rail line actually went through. And apparently when they wanted to expand here, they built the new building right on top of the meatpacking facility. Yeah. Thanks for that info, tour guy, whoever you are. Little Island's over there. Over here next to Little Island, the metal structure that you see is actually all that's left of the old White Star building. So that is where the Titanic was supposed to arrive. It didn't make it. If you don't know that story, you should look it up. It used to be the White Star Pier, and then it was bought by the Cunard line. And if you get up near it, you can actually still see Cunard kind of painted on it. History. It's the second film crew I've seen up here. They don't look very professional, but I mean, I'm not saying anything. I don't look very professional. Hey, look, bathrooms. Apparently that was it. I just hit the end of it without realizing that I had made it all the way. It's not nearly as long as I had thought it was going to be. I don't think it's 2 miles. I think it might be more like a mile. Pleasant walk. Now I'm in the Meatpacking District down here. And that didn't take very much time, so I guess I'll walk around a little bit. I don't really have any idea where I'm going now. You can see the High Line out at the end of that street. That's where we were. It's really neat architecture, all the old warehouses down here in the Meatpacking District. Just old brick buildings. Is this like a premium Starbucks store? I've never heard of such a thing. I really look like a tourist today. I'm just kind of wandering around, looking up at all the buildings, sort of wondering where I am or where I should go. There's just so much to see here, in every direction. I'm cutting across town now, heading toward the east, so I can hook up with the subway lines that go back up to my neighborhood. I'll enjoy the sights along the way. There was a lion playing basketball back there. It's Halloween in a few days. It's understandable. hot now, especially with the fleece on, but I don't want to carry it, so I'll suffer. I think it's time to head home. Good adventure though. All right, across 14th Street, made it to Union Square, catching the queue back home. Back up to the east side. It's a fun little walk in a historic place. Go home and get this sweater off, cool down, and then take my down coat out for a few days from now. See you next time.